Welcome to At Home with Gizzelle. I'm Gizzelle. Microsoft has officially taken sides in one of the most controversial debates of the last decade. Yes, I'm talking about the number of spaces after a period. Microsoft will start flagging a grammatical error in their Office suite of products anytime 2 spaces are entered after a period, taking sides with the single spacers. As a strong double spacer, I have 2 words for Microsoft: ignore rule. In other Microsoft news, cybersecurity company CyberArk was able to find a vulnerability in Microsoft Teams that they exposed by using an evil Donald Duck GIF, which upon viewing shared the victim's authentication token and therefore data. Surprisingly, this has not yet been added to ScreenRant.com's list of the worst things Donald Duck has ever done. Equinix had the kickoff to 2020 Pride Connect this week, strengthening our commitment to diversity, inclusion, and belonging. No joke here, it's just super awesome news. Facebook is taking on Zoom by launching Facebook Messenger Rooms that can support up to 50-way video calls. I just don't know if I have 50 people on my Facebook friends list that I actually talk to. For anyone that has spent more than 4 hours with me professionally, you've probably heard me talk about my excitement around Tempered Networks. Well, today we're lucky enough to have Matt Senechal from Tempered here to talk a little bit more about their solution, what they're doing different in the security market, and hopefully share some of that excitement with you. Thanks so much for being here today with us, Matt, and I absolutely adore your lighting. But why don't you start by giving us a brief history of how Tempered got started?
Thanks, Gizzelle. So Tempered is a Seattle-based company. Our technology actually got started here in the Seattle area at Boeing. All the way back in 2009, Boeing started modernizing their production facilities. And the facilities that I'm talking about are the ones that build the airplanes. And they moved those systems from serial-based to Ethernet. And right then, Stuxnet became public. And so when Stuxnet became public, you had all these executives at Boeing that were like, you could shut down all of these factories with a USB drive or someone plugging into the network, or even somebody that's on that same network clicking on the wrong email. This is a huge wake-up call for us. It's a huge problem. So they met with the military and learned all about this protocol called the Host Identity Protocol, which is what our technology is based on. And that started the journey for Boeing. This became a project at Boeing. It then moved out of Boeing and got picked up by a guy named Jeff Husey. And Jeff is famous for starting a company called F5 Networks all the way back in 1995. That, of course, is a very big networking company today. So a lot of us came from F5, and we are headquartered right down the street from them.
Talk to us a little bit about Host Identity Protocol. I understand that it's an alternative to TCP/IP, but what are the main differences?
In a TCP/IP world, you have several problems. First of all, TCP/IP is promiscuous, meaning, that annoying guy at the trade show that has to shake everybody's hand? That's TCP/IP. It has no filter. It just wants to talk to everything and everybody. So its very nature of the protocol is, flawed. But the second big reason that it's flawed is that TCP/IP was designed, I think, all the way back in 1959 or something like that, and uses an IP address for both location and identity. So as an example, Gizzelle, when you leave your house and go to a coffee shop again someday, you'll get a new IP address while you're at the coffee shop, but you didn't change. In a TCP/IP world, you did. So what HIP does is it inserts this public-private key pair that lives in your networking stack. So no matter what network you're on, no matter what IP address you're on, you have this crypto ID. Think of it like your DNA. And then we can make security rules based on who you actually are and not just your IP address.
I heard you talk one time on a cybersecurity panel about how it's silly that we're talking about supplements to treat an issue where we can actually be talking about implementing a cure. Can you elaborate a little bit upon that?
You might take vitamin C if you find out that you have come down with a fatal disease. It may make you feel better, but it really doesn't do much to solve the problem. And a lot of the cybersecurity stuff that's out there is just that. It is very well packaged and designed to make the company feel like they're getting more security, and they may be just because they get a little bit more visibility, but they didn't fix the problem. And the problem is you don't want anybody outside your organization ever being able to get to that server, right? That's the whole issue that you were trying to solve, and you did that by putting a next-gen firewall with, all of these things behind it to try to connect or try to find every anomaly. And most of the time, those things aren't great at that. And if they miss it, it's game over. So HIP and what we do solves that fundamental problem of, I only want these people to connect to these devices. And those devices could be in a data center, they could be in a cloud, they could be in an industrial environment, they could be in a hospital. And when you get to that level of security, a lot of problems go away. So I wouldn't say that we necessarily have the vaccine today for cybersecurity, but we're really close.
Thanks so much for your time today, Matt, and I hope now all of you are as excited about Tempered as I am. A little bit that you might not know about me is that I live with a genetic condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome that's pretty much going to require me to have physical therapy for the rest of my life. Fortunately, I found the world's best physical therapist who, during our last appointment, was very eager to share with all of you some tips on how to take care of your body while working from home.
Hey everyone, happy Blurs Day. Gizzelle mentioned that you all are spending a lot of time at home and on the computer right now. And unfortunately, working from home and quarantine is exposing a lot of bad posture, and this can contribute to neck, back, and shoulder pain. So here's a quick tip postural survival guide for those of you guys working from home. Number 1, keep your monitor at eye level and your keyboard close to the body. Number 2, make sure you have a chair with good back support and your feet planted firmly on the floor. Number 3, if possible, alternate with a standing desk. This can lessen the stress on your spine. Number 4, for those calls that don't need to be on video, get off your butt and walk. And number 5, remember your physical therapist is still available via telehealth. #ActiveEdgeWellness.
That's it for today's At Home with Gizzelle. Click the thumbs up below to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.